Okay, so welcome to the introductory video of Supreme Law Publications. In this video, we are going to discuss the law of immovable property. Basically, I'm going to give you the introduction to all that you need to expect in this series of videos on the law of immovable property. Now, when we say the law of immovable property, what do we mean by the law of immovable property? What at all is property? I'm sure you may have some money, probably somewhere in the bank. You may have a phone, a car, clothes, things that are yours. You know, if you choose to give it to another person, obviously no one may hassle you. Okay, you have the right to transfer it to another person. Now, that in law is what we usually refer to as property. Now, this property that you have, your cars, your phones, and those kind of stuff, they are of two folds. Now, this is what we mean. For example, if you have a car and you are in Kumasi, and you want to travel from Kumasi to Accra, what do? You may sit in your car and drive from Kumasi to Accra. If you have a phone, you can put your phone in your pocket and travel. If you have money, you can also carry same. So you realize that there are some of these properties that you have, these objects that you have, that you can just transport them from wherever you are to another place. This is what we refer to as movable property in law. Now, there are other kinds of property, objects that you may have, that it may not be easy for you to transfer them. For example, let's say you have a house, a room that you love so much, that you always enjoy good night sleeping there, somewhere in Accra or Koforidua or anywhere, any part of the world or country. And let's say you choose, let's say Accra, and you decide to move to Kumasi. Now, is it possible for you to take that house and bring it with you to Kumasi? Obviously not. Or let's say you have a business establishment like a factory, and you don't want the first location or where the factory is at present, and you just wish to move the factory to another place. Is it possible for you to just carry the factory along with you, like you would have done for a phone, and move it there? Obviously not. So the point is, this second category of property or objects that you have are those ones that you cannot just transport them. This is what we refer to as immovable property. The laws that govern these set of properties or objects that you have, whose portability is impossible or difficult, is what we refer to as the law of immovable property. Now, note that our Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, Article 18, Clause 1, let's see what it says. Article 18, Clause 1 says that everyone has the right to own property, either alone or in association with others. Did you see that? So when we talk about property owning, our Constitution, the supreme law of our country, Ghana, allows you and I to have property. You can either own it alone or in association with other people. So much of the law that we are going to speak about on immovable property is grounded on the Constitution, by the Constitution granting us the right of obtaining or having in possession some of this property. Now, beyond that, we will also refer to the statute and enactment of Parliament. That is a law that has been made by Parliament. We call it the Lands Act 2020. You know, originally there were other forms of laws that we had in Ghana, but in the year 2020, we consolidated some of them and reenacted other ones, and that gave us the Lands Act 2020 of the year, and that is the Act 1036. So the discussions that we are going to have on the law of immovable property in much of these videos is going to be grounded, one, on the Constitution, and also on the Lands Act, Act 1036. We also refer to case law. Now, case law may be matters that have been decided by the Superior Courts of Judicature in Ghana. By that, I mean the High Courts, the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court. What decisions have they made? What pronouncements have they made relative to these laws of immovable property? We'll put all of these together and we'll take you through a very exciting episode of the law of immovable property. Again, I want to reiterate the difference between movable and immovable property. We are saying that immovable property is that property that is not portable. The rest is yours to read. So guys, it's very clear, as you can see, that when we talk about the law on immovable property, that is what we mean. So in this series of videos under the law of immovable property, this is just an introductory. The ones that you will see subsequent to these ones, what we'll be discussing. We'll discuss, for example, what is land. When we say land, what do we mean by land? Do we just refer to the bare soil or something else? We'll talk about that. What are the various interests that people may have in land? If you want land, What kind of rights can you have in that particular kind of land? The law will explain all these things, and we will also discuss them. What about if you want to transfer land to somebody, or you have an interest in land, you want to give it out? What you may have commonly heard being called leases. What is a lease? We'll discuss leases and much of that. We'll talk about landlords and tenants. Many of you are landlords, others are tenants. Some of you also even aspire to become landlords. Some are still tenants. What does the law governing immovable property speak about on the issues of landlords and the issues of tenants? How do they relate? Guys, there's a lot for us to learn. So for you, that is the first time of being exposed to the law, take advantage, pay rapt attention with your book, and listen. If you are a student and you have upcoming exams in the law of immovable property, this is the best platform for you to learn about the law of immovable property, to improve your academic fortunes. If you also seek entry into the Ghana School of Law, you know that immovable property is one of the examinable courses. Pay rapt attention, same, and also learn from the law of immovable property. I'm excited that you and I are joined on these wonderful episodes that we are going to showcase on the law of immovable property.